Today's the 20th of April 2015, and if you watched my last mowing video, you might have noticed at the end that something went wrong, and this is what went wrong. The mower deck is raised by a cable, actually by a lever pulling a cable, and the lever is over on the side there with the yellow handle, a red bar with a yellow handle. Let's see if I can get you over there. When you lift up, when you push down on the handle, it raises the deck, and then you can clamp it in here. Normally, in operating position, it's like this. The cable runs at an angle here to a pulley. There's a pulley here, and there's a pulley up here. I'll show you in a minute. Actually, I don't. You can just see the pulley there, and the other pulley is under that guard over the spring there. I can point them both to you. The first pulley is down here, and the second one is here. This one runs this way, this one runs this way. The cable makes a rather tortuous path, and this pulley here is not aimed exactly right. Yeah, I can't change it, it's welded on, and the angle isn't exactly right, so the cable tends to wear out where it's rubbing through there. Since the last cable lasted 10 years or 12 years, however, I'm just not going to worry about it, and I'll just replace the cable. I bought some yesterday. This cable that I bought is supposed to be very high quality, but it's also coated with plastic. And my experience with these plastic coated cables is that they aren't really all that good, because the plastic coatings at some time gets cracked and water gets in. And although the cable seems to be relatively resistant to rusting otherwise, it when that water gets into the plastic, then of course it never dries, and it tends to rust worse. There's the new cable I bought. I got 3 meters of it, so that I'd have enough. I think I'll have enough actually for 2 changes. The first thing I'm going to do is get that old piece of cable off of there, however, and then I'll get that end on, get the new cable through the rollers, through the rollers, whatever they're called, and guides, and and then down at the handle end there, I will get the handle in the right position and try to get the cable tightened up, and if we're lucky, I'll figure out some way to cut it off then. Okay, so I'm not gonna. You don't need to watch me doing that, but I'll bring you back when I get the cable more or less in place. All right, so there's the cable on the front. We'll move around to the lever now and get that in there, and then we'll have to see how we cut this cable off. I have to get the angle right on the lever, because if it's too far down, you can't lift the deck up far enough, and if it's too vertical, the force you have to use to lift it is too great, and then it pulls it up too high. So I have to fool around with a little bit. There's no real adjustment, you just have to get it right the first time. this whole system for raising and lowering the deck is really a weakness of this mower. The later Yahoos, yeah, the later Yazoo mowers had a hydraulic lift system, and the first ones had actually just a kind of a pump hydraulic. The others had hydraulic pump on the motor that allowed the cylinder, a hydraulic cylinder, to raise and lower the deck, which of course is optimal. Some of the other mowers had 2 springs on the front there. This one was not made for 2 springs. I have a second spring, but there's no way to attach it. I'd have to weld something on it, and I just don't have the facilities for that. It would be a good idea. The basic problem here is when I rebuilt the deck of this mower, I had a man help me who could cut sheet metal and weld and so on, and he insisted on using a much heavier gauge metal than the original was, making the deck very heavy. It's much heavier than the original. It has lasted for that for, let's see, that's about 20 years ago that he did that, we did that. So it's okay, but like I say, the deck is so heavy that it's very difficult to raise and lower. Okay, we'll get to it anyhow. It's the way it works, and I've used it for 28 years. I'll use it for a few more if I can. With a combination of compound tin snips, wire cable cutter, and hacksaw, I was able to finally cut that cable through. It's really tough stuff. I'm amazed at how hard it was to get through it. I'm going to fasten it up now and try to get the angle right, and we'll see what happens. Before anyone reminds me, yes, there should be metal, what are they called? I can't remember what they're called. Around the cable where it goes through that hole there, wherever that is there should be a metal band to protect the cable. The holes are not big enough to use those, unfortunately. The holes are just big enough for the cable to go through, and I'm not going to start drilling them out. Like I said, the last cable lasted 10 years. If this one lasts 10 years, I won't worry about it. All right, got the cable tightened up and in place, and we'll give it a pull and see if we can raise the mower deck with it. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Well, I mean, it looks like it's it looks like it does. It's raises the deck more than high enough. That's no problem. And the handle is at a good angle. When I'm sitting, I can just press it down. Okay, it's a couple of hours later. The sun is low in the sky, which is not going to make good lighting for when I ride out there. But I'll take you with me anyway, and we'll edit the video accordingly. Okay, so all we do to start this engine is choke, a little bit of throttle, ignition on, check that it's in neutral. Choke off. I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing. the engine. The grass is too deep here, and I didn't lift the deck. We've got a row here, and another row over here. That row is later. It always comes in later. Okay, off we go again.